Yo. My name is Sarah and I have got a oracle card reading here for you. It's general, it's timeless, it's open. If you vibe with it, you vibe with it. If you don't, you don't. I don't pull cards on camera because I just need time to sit with them and I get the message in all kinds of different ways. And I get a lot of information through having that process with them. So I've spent time with these cards to understand this message. I've taken notes. I've had dreams. there's been quite a lot. So there is a really strong ancestral lineage thing going on here, and I think the message is serving as understanding. It's so someone can understand their lineage in relation to their magic. Basically. So this individual is the one who is understanding. It's this one's lineage, this one's ancestry that the message is communicating. So take it how it resonates. This could be one person, it could be many, it could be a lot of people experiencing this on a wider scale. But this is representative of a person who they've been on a journey or a particular leg of their journey, and I feel as though they are perhaps only now or have recently come into a fuller understanding of what that particular leg of their journey was about, because they were being led, being guided by this one. So coyote is a symbol, an energy of divine, sacred trickster, shapeshifter. But this one and this one are very connected. This one is part of this one. So coyote here is coming through as a guide. This is coming through as a very sort of spiritual, a deity, a guide. This is representing a person, an embodied individual, a woman specifically. It is talking about divine feminine. I understand that we all have divine feminine energy within us, regardless of gender, but this is representing a woman, biologically female person. that's important to understand. It's making that distinction. It also did in the previous reading that I posted, and then I afterwards was very gender, specific, and I kind of worried about it a bit, but that is what's coming through, that it's a woman, like biologically a woman, female. So this coyote is a divine masculine guide for this woman, and they've taken her on a detour. So what I was getting with this card, let me refer to my notes. So shapeshifter was the shapeshifter really kind of came to the forefront. To teach the power of words, the power of them in the earthly realms. Something about clearing the energy center in the throat. Considering that words are vibrations in the air. Detours for growth and understanding by ensuring that things don't go as planned. And so that's also part of the protection, right? It's kind of a detour to swerve you from something that is harmful for you or not in your best interests. The need for spell work was a detour, right? So this one, Coyote has taken this one on a detour, and that detour likely involved this one having to give something up that they had held quite closely to them, that had some value to them. The detour took them away from that. Perhaps it took them away from that quite abruptly, or things were going a certain way and then they were going a different way. It's kind of got a quality of a kind of switch up, or like an unexpected shift. So as soon as that, it's like there was a change in the energy, right? So with whatever this one is kind of holding, and it holds value for them. I want to say it started to feel different to them. They perhaps something felt different about it, that was perhaps very other to how it had been. So they still held it, and because they were still holding it, because they were still holding on to it, perhaps they continued to feel the change in it, but they still had a hold of it, in the sense of they were still holding this same value. They were still holding it in a position, in a sense. But then the energy, something sort of shifted with it. If not in a really abrupt way, just perhaps in quite a noticeable way. And that was the start of this detour. It was like a kind of a rumble before the swerve, you know, or some kind of, what's that word? Like, is it inertia? You know, when a bus is kind of going along and then it stops and you get thrown back, and then it's kind of the thing starting to feel different was an indication of this detour about to happen. Like there was about to be a turn in the road that was led by this one. And then so it's this lightning and witchcraft. So it's almost like first stop on the detour, there is a need. There is a need for some spell work. This is indicating that really powerful, intentional, magical workings. So this one knows what they're doing because they felt this shift in energy, and it was understood in some way that there had been a kind of a corresponding shift in direction. Actually got this Elks card as well. So that shift in direction, that turn, the start of that detour, there's something there telling them some protection is necessary. It is necessary to protect yourself. And the way that this one instinctively knew how to do that was using magic. They instinctively knew, if I need to protect myself, the tool that I need to use is a magical tool. And this is very intentional kind of ritual magic or spell work. It's very much that. It's like a protection spell, but it's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And this one knew to do it. As soon as they felt that change in energy and there was this perceived, like accurately perceived change in direction, they knew what to do about this. They knew what to do. And that doing was magical workings. So it says, the text on this card, it says, sorceress who sees all. Probably put my glasses on. Sorceress who sees all. Spying, scrying, sliding between here and all spheres. Primordial magic maker, crafter, healer, rune binder. The power sharer between here, there and everywhere. The Sidir, the sheer wisdom of the shamaness. So when it was called for, this one has immediately, instinctively tapped in to the lineage, to this magical lineage. They've been able to do that very easily, very, very powerfully as well. They've been able to kind of bring together, bring powers together here. But they have just straight up, straight down, like channeled this, this line in energy. So for this card, right, I got power coming into the voice. So there's that again. Because the coyote was coming in, wasn't he? Did I say it, like with the idea of words and vibrations and the idea of kind of clearing out the energy centre of the throat, which is why I'm saying sort of like spell work, like it's a spoken, a really intentional, magical working to serve protection. I also got with this, I got sonic boom, right, which is interesting, sonic boom. So sonic boom is a loud explosive noise that's caused by a shockwave from an aircraft or another flying object travelling faster than the speed of sound. So it's a boom, it's natural sound, which is a bit like thunder, right? It's a bit like thunder. You see the light before you hear the thunder because of the difference between the speed of sound and the speed of light. So even though the thunder card didn't come out, this came out with sonic boom. So the words travel quickly. The power of them is felt before the words are actually heard, is what I've written down here. In a sense, the words of the aircraft caused this. So really, really powerful words. It's a very powerful spell that has been spoken, been uttered by this one. But there is a lot, I think this is what part of the lineage is. I think there is a big emphasis on words. Words are important to their lineage because we would associate communication, words, weaver of words, the ability to speak to beings in different realms, to different types of people, different situations, very, like a lot of ingenuity. So there's this, words are really emphasised. Yeah, indicating the power of words, speech, the spoken spell. Strikes the earth, earthly power, powerful illumination. So the process of doing this magical process, as much as it's to serve protection, as much as it has that requirement in its intention that it protect them, it's illuminated something for them. It's like the process of doing it has is illuminated. Okay, I'll come back to that. Yeah. Coyote weaves the words between the worlds. Old magic. This lineage of magic. The coyote is guiding someone to their lineage of magic, taking them on a detour, which has meant that they've had to give up something that held some significance or value. They had their focus on it, but it started to feel different. It perhaps started to feel unpleasant, or there was something about it that shifted. which was the start of this detour. And they've immediately tapped into their ability to craft spells, to weave words together and create this really powerful magic that was done with the awareness that there was a need to protect themselves. But it's also, there's like collateral stuff going on. It's served as that protection, but it's also brought them some very powerful insight, or they have absolutely fucking channeled and earthed some powerful shit. Powerful shit. Yeah, channeling. Yeah, man, channeling. They've channeled it into a magical working that is by its nature an offering. It's like an ancestral offering because they are, whether they're aware of it or not, they are using their like ancestral old magic to do it. So the action of doing that, the energy, the time, the consideration, the care to do that, and to do it ritualistically, to do it in a specific way, it's all honouring this ancestral old magic. And that's, I think, a large part of what wasn't understood. Is that just instinctively knowing how to do a spell, what will be needed, what the process will be. It just, they know it. And they know it in this really deep way as well. There's something here, 44, which isn't talking about, it's talking about a point in time. It's talking about like the point of the 44 was when they mastered something. And I feel like the point of the 44 was perhaps this shift point, this change. It's like they've grounded, they've channeled, grounded and used something, used this kind of divine ancestral magic, but they've used it in their earthly realm. It's kind of, they've mastered something and perhaps not realised that they have. Because there's like this real thing about them not being aware of their lineage to the extent where they would have known this. So we've also got this rune card, which I think is called, pronounced, sorry, Purth. It's not Purth. Right. It says, what do you recall? Remember that before this, there was that. Listen. Woodwind whistling, whirling, a trance state whipping at the curtain that hides the other places. Will you not dance in and reach for my cosmic fruit offered and serve the cosmos with me? So this, the rune to me looks like a magnet. This looks like electromagnetic, like power, attraction, repulsion, like that whole thing. But it kind of wanted to go with these cards here. So with this, oh, it was interesting. I wrote bird wing and antlers. There, bird wing and antlers, right? The antlers. So this is talking about, it's part of this spell work. I've written here, cosmic surge has reached Yggdrasil. The two trees connect, golden light. So the two trees are Yggdrasil and the pear tree, right? And then I had this song in my head called Simple Silver Surfer, which to me is a bit sort of like surfing the silver, surfing like moonlight. It's got this kind of consciousness thing to me, is that, but it's a tune by a musician called Jaimie, and she's a trumpeter. She was a trumpeter, rest her soul. But she's a trumpeter, and so bugle calls. It's kind of understanding that magic. It's understanding the magic, understanding the pull towards the magic. And it connects the branches. It's like the personal Yggdrasil tree then connecting with this kind of cosmic pear tree. It's like the branches connect. So this detour that Coyote has taken this one on, it's led them to a point. They've gone through this shift in energy that's probably not felt great, taken them perhaps in a bit of an unexpected direction. And the thing that they've had to do in a really immediate sense is do some perhaps quite intricate or lengthy magical workings with the kind of primary conscious intention of protecting themselves. So they're aware that there was something to protect themselves from, that was necessary. The process of doing that has connected them to this wider kind of cosmic web. It's a wider cosmic web, and they've connected. Something in them has connected with that wider cosmic web through this magical working. It's like one of the collateral sort of effects of them doing it is that it's connected them here. But it's also brought them to a point it's brought them to this occosmik. So this text, earth power, personal power, thy power, thine alone. Right, so let's start that again. Earth power, personal power, thy power, thine alone, carved in stone before birth in that other place. Sigil of the cosmic gift that awaits birthing through you, by you, for you. Esoteric secrets of the full moon eclipse, which we just had one, didn't we? Full moon eclipse in Pisces, about a week ago from when I'm recording this. Where worry and ruin are dissolved by the light of being seated in the earth magus. Oldest sacral cycle is completed, shadows burnished, soul refurnished. So Coyote has led them to this point here. They did what they needed to do. They stepped up to protect themselves. They instinctively knew how to do that, which has connected them or reconnected them to this kind of much bigger cosmic lineage, I was going to say then. But it's also brought them to this point here. So that bit about carved in stone, always been there. The underlying card for the Liffruma deck was this Kjalk, which talks about extraneous yet present, evidencing times gone, lives past, moments fallen. Here and now, dig out the decrepit blocks, dislodge the bricks that should have been displaced long ago. Right. So, and this one's talking about this kind of carving in a stone that's always been there. It's like getting to a point where Coyote is now saying, right, all you need to do is get rid of that block, have a bit of a dig, and you're going to see. It's something, I don't know if birthright is quite the right thing to say. It's like it's led them to a point where they can clearly understand their lineage. It's led them to their lineage. That's what the detour, that was like the reason for the detour. It's so they can understand their own ancestry, their own lineage, because it's really fucking magical. I mean, important for people to know that anyway, right? But there seems to be a very strong emphasis on magic, and this rune looks like a boob. This rune looks like a boob. This is, I think, about a woman being taken on a detour by her, or by an aspect of her divine masculine or a divine masculine guide, so she can understand more about her power. And the reason I keep putting so much emphasis on boobs, but there's also the physiology of a woman. Oldest sacral cycle completed, booby. The underlying card for the Shaman deck was the Ancient Ones, and when I split the deck, got this beautiful Beloved. So it's interesting, 1-5, and we've got this here. The Elk's protection card is 1-5. There is something there about that. It's that, like I'm saying, the instinctual understanding that they needed to work magic. That knowing exactly what to do is part of this ancestral protection. It's like that knowledge, right? That knowledge, that instinctive knowing. It's like it's an ancestral thing, but it's from like a feminine line, like a line of females, line of women. So the pulse of deep ancestry, it's pulsating, it's an active energy. It's like lifeblood, life force. It feeds the heart, wants for your heart. I've written in capital letters, sacral soul. Right? Sacral, sacral soul. Sacral cycle. This whole happening, this whole detour, this magical working, this protection, this coming away from something that wasn't very harmful, maybe not, that was quite harmful, but perhaps not seeing why. it served this huge kind of bigger purpose of connecting to this sort of ancestral, like cosmic lineage. It's completed some kind of ancestral sacral cycle for the women of an ancestral line. Yeah. Palpable presence, warmth and love, all protective, reaches you through your heart, which is the connection point. I hope that's clear. Oh, that makes sense. Actually, it's a very gorgeous message. It's a very gorgeous message. Somebody is very powerful in their magical practices, their magical workings. It's definitely somebody who is connected to the spirit world. They have familiarity with magic. It's not a novice, but it is somebody who just didn't know about kind of deeper ancestry or origins, something like that, like traditions of cultures. They're just maybe not familiar with it. Whatever was valued, whatever was kind of being held, it's got something to do with women and how they're perhaps traditionally viewed. What about women and their physiology is revered and seen as sacred and is kind of praised, and what about a woman's physiology is not, but it's just as much the divine feminine. That's what all this sacral is talking about. All this red, this earthly power, this sacral cycle, the full moon eclipse, washing everything away. There is something here about menstruation. There is something here about how women bleed. Something here about how sacred that is. How much that is like lifeblood and life force. So there was something that this one was something about that wasn't recognized. So they've been taken on this detour because the divine masculine knew to take them on this detour. They've conducted these magical workings, and it's like it's connected them in several different directions, but it's also it's done something really significant for this large sacral cycle of female ancestors. The menstruation, the bleeding is only part of it, but it's a really significant part of it. It's a really significant part of what the shamaness is doing. It's a really significant part of any protection. It's always been a really significant part of any deep ancestral magic. So this one has come in. taken them away from something, detoured them from something that doesn't recognize that feminine power, or it's that idea of like holding beliefs about the feminine again. Is, I keep saying boob, no, it's a boob. This idea of women as like nurturers and, you know, caregivers, which absolutely they are, but it's like that being the kind of accepted or revered thing, when actually there's like all this sauciness, saucy sorceress, you know, but there's all this like deep ancestral magic. It's saying that that's a different aspect of femininity, and it's one that needs to sort of be made sacred, yeah? Needs to be recognised and made sacred. Magic if you bleed, yeah? That's definitely there in this. This is that larger sacral cycle. Not just there for nurturance and caregiving and looking after. There's all this other kind of sexual, magic, creative, kind of really like fertile energy. Yeah. So Coyote, Viridito, has got someone to the point where they are understanding that, where they see that, yeah. Seeing the sacred value. Okay, right. Nice one. Have a good day. I've used the Liffruma Oracle deck. It's these beautiful rune cards, Liffruma, and the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck, which is inspired by and rooted in sort of Andean shamanism. So I will link both of those decks below. But have a good one. Thank you if you've watched all the way through. Nice one. Take care. Bye bye.